This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio is brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. JMB Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. And Silver Wax, absolute care for everything you drive.
Always scares me. I get startled. Here, wait a second.
Thank you. Welcome to the program. Angelo, Viola, Peter Bowman, Nikki V, and Mr. Dean Taylor over here. Wow. Do we have a show for you today?
Very excited about this one.
Wow.
Yes.
The recently appointed minister of the M&R guy.
The M&R dude, the big boy of the M&R.
Mr. Natural Resources and maybe Forestry. I don't know. Lately, I think they've been dropping the F off.
It's funny, yeah. They brought it in and made sure they said it every time. And now all of a sudden we're hearing it. I'm not sure about so much as the M&R-F saying it or not, but everybody else is just going back to the M&R again. It just seems to be the old natural way.
We'll find out. His name is Mike Harris Jr., because you all recall Mike Harris Sr., premier of this province for about a decade. The common sense revolution was what Mike Harris brought to us originally. Well, this is his son, who's been involved in politics for a good part of his life, and just recently, like I said, received the appointment as Minister of Natural Resources. And the nice thing about it is that he is a fishing dude, right? Background, the lineage.
He's got to help.
Background and lineage connect him to what we love to do. And so you can't go wrong when you have a minister appointed to fisheries that knows his stuff.
I agree.
Not that the previous ones didn't, but I just wanted to put that out
Those that do. How's that?
Those that do. I love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
By the way, he's MP for Kitchener, Conestoga riding, for those folks that might be from that area and you felt left out that I didn't mention it. That's where Mike Jr. has his
good. You got to include
office.
Everybody, buddy. That's good.
Course.
I like it.
FishingCanada.com, the gateway, the portal to your next fishing adventure, also is a great place to go if you're looking for stuff.
We got a lot of stuff.
Not the stuff that we're wearing right now, apparently, because I got shit from our store manager that neither of our items right here are for sale on Fish.
Oh.
Well,
this isn't for sale.
You both have
but we're promoting,
products that don't exist on the store. Pete's shirt is a misprint. It was supposed to be a bunch of bullshit shirt that missed the bunch of bullshit.
Okay.
And yours is older than I am.
This is a crew.
It's a
this is an
classic.
official crew.
Yeah, it's older than I am.
Not a crew neck. It's a crew shirt.
It's a crew shirt. Turn
I love
around.
it.
Show the back. There you go.
Spinner winner, chicken dinner.
Spin for me.
There it is. He's on the crew. I just wore mine the other day, and somebody said that about me. He says, "You're not crew." I said, "I am crew. What the hell? We're all crew. What's the matter?"
Anyways, Fishing Canada, the store, shop.fishingcanada.com is where you can get some of this lovely stuff. Apparently, according to the store manager, there's so much stuff on there that we don't even know. We thought this was apparently there's not.
Yeah.
That's how vast it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you haven't been there lately, shame on you. Get on over there. Giddy up, as they say. Giddy up on over to shop.fishingcanada.com.
And if you stick around long enough today,
yes,
we're going to have a code later.
Ooh.
Believe it or not.
For what purpose would...
For 15% off, but I'm not going to give it to you yet.
Okay, 15% off on everything? Or
on everything. Your whole basket.
No matter what we order,
matter what
15 off. Wow.
All right.
So that could get significant if you order a big basket.
Well, sure you would.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you, Nick. That's very nice.
Home of the fishing hoodie, by the way. People have been saying that. A lot of people are talking about it. It's probably the most comfortable fishing hoodie that money can buy. And it's their, correct me, store manager, if I'm wrong, but it's their all year long, right? In the store, you can buy one of these wonderful hoodies, these custom hoodies, all year long.
Big time.
But
and they're not that expensive.
That's a
good quality for a good price.
Especially at 15% off, you get that code
there
going,
you
eh?
go. And now you're just
you know,
you might as well be making money.
Speaking of which, let's go to listener feedback, shall we? Kitties? I think
at
that would be
Martin Schultz 9381 via YouTube and listener feedback.
Now, I noticed that there's no T in Schultz. Is that correct? Is that normal?
Well, it's just a name that they use for their YouTube handle,
It's
right?
like
So it could be anything. You
Schulz.
could have that.
Schulz.
Yeah, Martin
Schulz.
Schultz. Yeah, it could be Schultz. Yeah,
Schultz, because normally there's a T there,
Schulz.
correct?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Schulz.
Martin Schultz 9381.
There you go.
What do you think that 9381 stands for then?
I don't know. That's
You
probably
get
just
rid of the-
computer generated.
It's probably
Because-
everybody's
because
9380 was taken.
Because there were 9,380
Already used up.
Martin Schulz
That's what I just said, yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love these handles. But anyways, Martin, listener feedback from via YouTube says, in response to our lake trout episode in BC.
Which one?
The one behind you.
That one.
Oh my!
How about that one right
All
there?
right, that one.
That'd be a good one.
That'd be a good start.
Look at the slime on your legs there, the Laker slime.
I was going to say, look
You
at the
can't be proud
size
of
of
that.
that. And
Oh.
the fish is pretty big too. All right.
I learned long ago that you can't live and die by the fish finder. They're accurate, good entertainment, good for telling you depth, but can be frustrating. The last time my wife and I went out, we joked that we were actually catching more than we were seeing on the finder and not in the places that we were seeing them. Good video. Good video. So
So what does that mean?
well,
What do we do with that?
because we are harping a lot about the use of our electronics.
Yes, we are.
Without a doubt, because we use them a lot and we find fish with them a lot. But I'm gonna assume that I'll bet you Martin and his wife are just out with a traditional fish finder.
Maybe.
I'm thinking that, and if they were
Maybe.
fishing in 20 feet or less, people have to realize that unit does not scan very far out. It shoots a cone down, and it's a very small area. So if you're thinking that you're scanning 100 feet to your left, right, center, and everywhere else, you're not. You're scanning at a very, very small area. So a lot of times back when Ange and I started the tournament stuff, we ran our traditionals, flashers, whatever it was. We looked for as much structure as
More.
we did fish. Yeah, more.
More.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
so.
think we ever really looked for fish.
Yeah,
back
if you
then, right?
if you saw fish on it, whoa, there's a bonus. But you're really, then you see it and say, was that a fish really? I don't even know. You know what I mean? So we looked more for weed lines. We looked more for rock piles and transitions and stuff like that. And that still to this day is true if you're running just a conventional traditional fish finder. So, but just have to remember that the spread on the traditional is not very far. Now, if your unit has side finding on it, that's a different story. Now you can start reaching out there 50, 60, or 100 feet or whatever on each side of the boat. That makes it a little bit different too. So, but
the point he makes there is kind of interesting, though. The last time my wife and I went out, we joked that we were actually catching more fish in areas where we weren't seeing them than we were in areas that we were seeing them.
Yeah.
Now,
So is that right below the boat? Their fish finder and they're casting way out?
Analyze that. Let's analyze that for just a moment, because we're guilty of this often too. Is that we'll be looking for whether it's forward facing or traditional. Traditional is even worse because it's not real time. So what you think is happening right here, right now, it's history.
No, traditional is real time.
Traditional?
At the minute it comes on your screen.
But it
stays on there historically.
You're right. You're past it.
Yeah, you
right.
have to,
the minute that it comes on the tip of your screen, you're already there. You've moved.
Yes, depending on your speed, I guess. Well,
Yeah.
If you have
trolling, I'm assuming they're trollers.
You'd
but
put the amplitude scale on. You do a real time there. It's kind of a flasher versus
the flasher, different story.
But
that's not what I'm talking about.
no,
I'm
you
talking
can put
about
that on
traditional.
your traditional too.
Yeah,
right?
to give you a better indication. But most people will look at that and not realize that by the time they react to what they've seen, it's not where you think it was.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line.
If it's way over there, way left of your screen at 30 feet, yeah, you're right.
And the new stuff kind of eliminates that, putting it in simple terms. But regardless, it doesn't really matter. the point I was trying to make is that how many times have we looked at something on the screen, whether it was traditional or even the new technology, and made a few casts or made a few passes, and then continued fishing over there a little bit farther and over there a little bit farther and catching fish.
Yep.
Happens quite a bit, actually.
Of course. That's what fishing is, right? That's what you're
Happens
hunting.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
You're not going to catch every fish that you see, and you're not going to see every fish that you catch. That's really.
Hey, I like that.
That's really.
That's a T-shirt. Put that on fishingcanada.com.
Book that in the store. Right?
Angelo's theory.
You're not going to catch every fish you see, but you certainly are not going to see every fish you catch, because we do it all the time. Because as Pete mentioned, what you're looking at is this little area, and I don't know, depending on depths, depending on the cone, depending on the unit, that area could be 2 feet wide, it could be 6 feet wide, which leaves a whole ocean around you that you're not seeing. So
Yeah. There's oftentimes too. I'll let people know this. Like many times, what Angela's talking about historical. So you go over a fish, you see the arch on your traditional screen. Whoa. Boom, put it in reverse. You back it up, and you don't ever see that fish again. You say, where to go? Fish move so much too that you have no, like that's what we've learned on forward.
It could have been moving when you saw it, right?
Of course, and we learned that on forward-facing sonar that they rarely stay still. There are a portion of fish that stay still, but most of them, oh my God, they're cruising in at us, and you get one cast at them and you're done, sort of thing like that. So it's fish finders are just an aid that we use it religiously, and we're still learning with it, and absolutely loving it. So Ange and I've got the most experience in the crew with it. So Dean's got the next most, and now we've got Stevie into the forward-facing stuff and that, and Stevie's right into it now. He's glued on it now. It's hilarious.
It's addictive, isn't it?
Oh my God, it is. But the point is that we love it. It works, and you got to kind of stick with it. But don't stop casting over to the bushes and do everything else. So, yeah.
There you go, Martin's Shoals, 9381.
Martin Shoals.
Martin Shoals.
You like that one, don't you?
Well, there's
You
no
guys
T.
You're
There's
really
no
hooked
T.
up on
You
this
like
name
that?
thing.
There's no T.
I love it. Well, Shoals is different than Schultz, maybe, right? So there you go.
Hopefully we answered
Schultz,
your
you remember
question.
Schultz in Hogan's Heroes?
I know nothing. He was the best. Conservation Corner, my friend.
Yes, brought
There
to you
you
by
go.
the Invasive Species Center, the grass carp, as we've
buddy.
been talking a lot about, and have recently had one show up.
Yes.
Up from Lake Huron.
What are we hearing about that, Dean?
Here it is.
We haven't heard a whole lot. This was a
Look
few
at-
weeks ago.
Look, look at the size of that friggin' thing.
Wow.
You catch a muskie that big, you are one happy dude. You know what I
You
mean?
catch muskie. You catch anything that big.
It's
What are you
friggin'
talking about?
Massive. He's got,
Wow.
Is that a rope in that?
Yeah,
Now,
So-
does
dragging
it ever? Did it say how was it dead already, or did he actually angle for it?
So
Like,
it was floating on the surface, kind of in the picture you can see if you're watching right now. But so he picked it up assuming it was dead, not knowing what it was, and then it turned out to be alive. It was just like struggling up at the surface.
Oh, wow.
Not a whole lot, surprisingly, as a time of recording, we're like 3 weeks from this happening. Not a whole lot has come out. Other than that, it's been confirmed a triploid, which means it's not a spawner.
Yep.
Which suggests to me, anyways, that it was probably one of those escapees of like the original population they put to control weeds. But that does mean that they've traveled or been manually
Jeez.
moved or something.
That thing's been alive for a while, too.
So it's not
like a
naturally
new-
reproducing, because that would be the fear of a fish that big.
Right.
That it's a big spawner, because
Are the does anybody know of you guys? And this is just a question. Are the aquarium versions of these able to spawn, or are they triploids?
are there aquarium versions of these?
Well, people have Asian carp in their aquariums.
I
don't know
believe it's
grass carp
illegal
are-
to transport anything like that. That's not triploid.
I don't think.
I understand that, but people release this shit into these lakes all the time,
Yeah.
right? And then they just do it illegally, and they don't even know. I'm just wondering if there's a version of Asian carp that can spawn. I can't see why they would, and you can't even breed them in captivity. I don't think, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah, they are spawning like in the Mississippi and stuff. I think those are reproducing populations.
Which is a little confusing to me now that you mention it. This being a triploid, and you saying that it must have been one of the original,
The OGs.
the OGs. right? Is that what you said?
It's the OG, yeah.
The OG. It was the OG of grass carp that originated in Mississippi, because that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So that means that this critter, I mean, I don't know what the age span is on a grass carp, or
maybe it's
Asian
like a
carp.
buffalo, like those big mouth buffalo. They live till like
almost
120
100.
or
Yeah,
something.
100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
there you
wonder.
go. There you go.
They might. But I'm also not the experts. The people at AsianCarp.ca.
You
That's a
sound
good one.
really
That's a good one.
experts.
We should learn that one. I think we need to find out how old they can get, just for information.
Well, because if it
There's
is
nothing
from the
else.
original stocking, it would be. Do you have something
really
there?
old.
I got something. According to this, the common carp can live for up to 20 years.
Right.
That's it.
So that's it. So if we
God.
can, maybe say that they're similar, maybe they live a little longer, but probably somewhere around 20 years.
Yeah, it'd be close. It'd be close. Interesting. I think we need to do some investigating.
Yeah, that makes sense too. They eat 40% of their weight, and I mean that's their growth rate would be ridiculous. So yeah, that fish could be less than 20 years old.
Yeah.
Be that big easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I did a little more. According to research done on the eastern side of Russia and China, they're 5 to 20 years.
The grass
Oh
carp.
my
The
God.
grass carp.
Well, Dean, what do you think of that now?
I'm wrong. That's why I'm not the expert.
Well, it's buffalo. If a buffalo bred with a grass carp, then
Yeah,
they could
yeah,
live
yeah.
50 or
That's
60
what you
years.
said.
That's what I was thinking.
Buffalo
yeah.
grass. That's
Yeah.
what they have there.
No laughing matter, gentlemen.
No, true.
Anyways,
True enough.
grass carp. We were not laughing. We're not. Invasive Species Center. That's where you need to go, because much like this character here, I mean, this guy, you could be encountering them as well, and you need to be well versed on everything.
And good for him
Not
for
like
reporting
us.
it. Right.
Not like a pair of morons like us.
Oh, we'd report it now.
Yeah,
Could
we
you
know.
imagine if we didn't
know.
report one after all these shout outs that we've been doing here? Oh my God, we'd go to jail. We should
I
go
think
to
we
jail.
could identify one pretty easily. now.
I know we could. I know we could.
Wouldn't have to pull out a phone or
And
nothing.
we would to go to AsianCarp.ca and report it. That's what we would do.
That's the phone
That
thing.
would be the
Okay.
phone thing. So
All right, there you go. In the news, Mr. Bowman, this segment, by the way, the news segment brought to you by J&B, your outdoor superstore, J&B Cycle and Marine, Ontario. Ontario lays claim here. Ontario says this is the largest
it's a pretty big claim.
Princecraft Mercury dealer of its kind within the jurisdictions of Ontario. I'm thinking it could be the biggest Princecraft Mercury dealer in the nation.
Yeah, nobody's disputed you yet.
Not
You know,
yet.
people
And
should
when
be
we were
writing
in
you know.
Quebec, Pete, I think you might have said Canada's largest, and no one came out of the woods or anything.
Well, that was a test. See, so
Yeah.
test to see if I'm alive still. Wow, what a dum-dum.
Fully equipped boat
Now you tell me,
packages.
Dean. Hey, now he tells me.
Yeah.
You know,
See, he lets
weeks
you do
ago.
this stuff, and then he sits back.
He waits there and then
Science.
finally.
I've noticed that about him.
It's for science.
Fully equipped rigs, including pontoons, pontoon boats, and deck boats. By the way, deck boats, I think is one of the greatest inventions since, I don't know,
Yeah,
the
they're pretty
vacuum
cool.
cleaner.
They're
Okay.
pretty cool. Suck it up, Junior.
I
we
think-
were at very quickly. It's not. I know it's not Ontario, but we were just at Beauchesne Lodge in Quebec. They have a full fleet of Princecrafts and Mercs. Everything was Princecraft and Merc. Even the older boats at the side, Princecraft and Merc. Just
Does the heart good. Does the heart good to see that.
It does the heart a lot of good. So.
There you are, J&B Cycle, or if you're going online to check them out, it's jbcycle.com. There's no end on the online portion. jbcycle.com.
Make it a little easier for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
hell yeah.
All your boating package needs await you. In the news, which was brought to you by J&B Cycle.
Ontario's largest, and maybe the world's largest. You never know, right? So, sorry. There you go.
What do we got in the news, Mr. Bowman?
Overview of BC freshwater recreational fisheries. So it was a study done in partnership with the DFO, Department of
Right,
Fisheries,
Fisheries
and
and
Oceans.
Oceans.
I always think it was division.
Johnny
whatever.
Rogers, you remember him?
I remember my boss, Johnny Rogers. Pete, where was you? He used to give me shit.
Because you probably would hide a lot. That's why.
I hid a lot, but not as much as he did when he was on the tools. How's that for Johnny Rogers' story?
Johnny Rogers, when we were involved with DFO, Johnny Rogers was the lead on their. He ran their marketing and advertising.
Yeah,
he was
I
a
remember that
great
name,
guy.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, what a great guy! He was funny. Oh, I should look him up. I haven't.
Hell yeah.
Heard him 30 years.
Must be. Would he be retired by now?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
not.
Oh,
well, you're not retired yet.
Okay, I don't work for the government. Believe me,
Oh,
if I
true.
worked for the government,
True that.
I'd have retired at 30.
Yeah, true enough. Full pension, all the benefits, and all the good stuff in life that we all want.
I got mouths to feed still.
Yeah. Johnny doesn't have to worry about that.
No.
Pension's feeding all the mouths, right? 2023 data compiled and released in June 2025. Some of the findings were total angler activity. This is freshwater recreational fisheries. And remember, not saltwater because BC's got both, right? Total angler activity. Recreational freshwater fishing in BC accounted for 2.6 million fishing days in 2023. Target species were mostly trout. 81% were trout. And rainbow trout was the most targeted species, linked to approximately 1.4 million fishing days. Economic impact. How about that number? You want to give that one?
Sure, 297 million in 2023.
On just the freshwater.
Freshwater only, which,
That's
most of us
pretty
in the business, we find that hard to believe when we think of BC, right?
Right.
Because,
just all you think of is the Chinook salmon. And,
they've got some great inland, streams and waterways, but really
halibut, they got the lingcod, they got everything out there. The salmon obviously is a huge one out there, right? So,
240 million attributed in total to rainbow trout.
To rainbow trout.
Wow.
Yeah.
White sturgeon.
Yeah, there's an interesting one.
Well, now, what's the deal with that? It's not legal to angle for white sturgeon, is it?
Yeah. You can
have to
catch and
release, right.
Remember with Vic and all
Right,
that?
right.
Yeah.
Well, targeted for less frequency still generate 20 million in expenditures, and that would be probably all attributed to fishing guides, fishing resorts, fuel to fuel the boats for that activity, etc.
Yep.
Wow.
They have, and in the interior of BC, they have largemouth and smallmouth bass now. They have yellow perch.
Yes.
They have a couple of species of whitefish. They have grayling. So there are other species, but obviously they're not anywhere. Kokanee salmon is another one. They have kokanees in there. I think kokanee probably would play a big part in that, but obviously the rainbow trout and et cetera. Oh, look at a little mappy coming up there. Look at this. I love this stuff.
The caribou's a big one. I used to fish that area a lot. That's where the rainbow stuff's probably coming from.
Oh, really?
It's incredible, that region of the province. It's
a
amazing.
Nice breakdown. Is this going to be on our website, Dino?
This will be on our website, yeah. And if
That's
you're watching
perfect.
the podcast right now, you can enjoy this as well.
You and I was there.
Vancouver Island.
We done that one.
Campbell River, that's right.
We did the...
Only 3.3 million, 17,000. That surprises me versus the Okanagan because we fished in that area.
Yeah.
And that's obviously more popular. The Fraser, again.
We did that.
What's the biggest one in this map? I guess it's the Okanagan, isn't it?
I don't know.
Looks like it. Or the Better River.
I think I'll have a kokanee and look at the Okanagan.
Okanagan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you remember that guy showed us those kokanees in that stream that one time?
That was funny.
He took us up. A very quick story in the Outdoor Journal we were shooting, and we were going up to these really mountainy areas in BC, and he says, guys, I got a little creek here, and there's kokanee that are sitting right behind this rock, and I'll go show you. And he said,
but you got to be quiet.
And he had us sneaking up, and we just like we were tiptoeing in for, fishing speckled trout or whatever, and he goes down, he puts his hand in, he pulls out a 6-pack of kokanee in cans, kokanee beer. That's the best trick ever. And we had one. Yeah, it was good.
We cracked one.
So that's a great map that people, obviously the whole story is going to be on our website.
So the purpose of this, Dean, was to just make people aware of what's going on in BC.
Yeah, how big the fisheries are. Like you said, I think it's surprising. I think people who haven't spent a lot of time in BC don't associate the interior and some of the other trout species they have as popular.
Exactly.
Like people think of steelhead and salmon when they think of BC, but the interior is an amazing
it's just
place.
Crazy. I mean, we've
bull trout too.
Bull trout.
He knows all about the bull trout there.
We shot bull trout in the past.
That's right, in the Pitt River.
But even less exotic things like walleye and pike.
Yeah, they got everything.
They got everything.
That's stuff that's not even mentioned probably in a very
lake trout. Anyways, very good. So folks can go to fishingcanada.com, the portal.
Yep,
the
we'll have all the
gateway
charts.
to their fishing
Yeah.
queries.
Yeah, we'll have all the charts on there. It's pretty interesting stuff. It's a lot of data. I've actually.
Oh, look at this.
It took them about 2 years to compile it, so it's pretty
Pretty
dense.
extensive. Yeah, I like it.
I would love to see something like this for Ontario. I haven't seen anything for a
Wow,
while.
I would too.
Who did this? Who commissioned this?
Stats Canada and DFO.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
DFO for the interior because they're normally
Yeah.
the
Exterior.
right?
Saltwater.
Saltwater, right. Interesting. Maybe we'll get that. Maybe we could talk to Mr. Harris about that, or we'll talk to him after
Well,
about that. You know what I mean?
There's a million things we need to talk to him about.
Yeah.
Fan question of the week. Let's do fan question of the
Brought
week.
to you by fishfindermounts.com. Angelo used them a lot in the last 3 weeks. So shooting.
No kidding.
Man, a lot of fishfinder mounts going on. That magnetic thing is a scary little beast. To put that in the back, you
can't pull it off.
Oh my God! You have to pull. So you have to pull the
Twist.
transducer off the boat, and then the other part drops because you can't do it the other way. It's so strong. It's crazy. So.
Gotta
Anyway.
be careful though, not to
Oh.
get your fingers, like your skin.
That would pinch, man,
Yeah.
bad. That could do damage.
But I'll tell you, it is the answer if you're looking to hang a transducer on the back of a boat
Aluminum boat.
without drilling holes.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, it works great. It's unreal. Actually, it works really slick. So, anyways.
Did you tell him it was brought to you by fishfindermouse.com?
no, I didn't. You
Well,
wanna
tell
go
him.
ahead?
Why don't you go ahead and tell
This
him,
segment is
actually?
brought to you by fishfindermounts.com.
Here we go. This week's fan question. Who is it, Brian? Who's Brian? So at ISC.
L probably.
Is that an L?
Small. LSC. Lake St. Clair. I'll bet you that's what that is,
Lake
LSC.
St.
Because everybody
Clair.
says LSC for Lake St.
Okay,
Clair.
Lake
so.
St. Clair, DB. What does that stand for, Mr. Bowman?
Dirty bastard. That's what I always thought.
Lake
when
St. Clair, dirty bastard via YouTube.
So he might be eligible for the.
he is
$50.
eligible. He is eligible. This is big.
This is
So that
LSC deligible. That's what that DB is for. Yeah, he's deligible.
we shouldn't screw around with this then. It's L. No, you said it's I or L?
I say it's L.
LSCDB. We're not sure, but it could be that.
It could be.
It could be that.
Yeah.
Via YouTube. Submitted via YouTube because I'm assuming that's the only way that they're going to.
That
The
it
only
is.
way, yeah.
So they have to send a question in via YouTube.
You can
So-
comment on any video and we will find you.
Any video.
Any video.
But you have to also be a subscriber to our channel. You can't just pop in and then hop out. You got.
I was going to say, yeah, there's got to be something that they have to do.
Well, the other thing now, we don't tell them that we selected them. They have to watch the show and find out.
Yeah.
So
I'm not chasing anyone down to give them $50 to my store.
So we know
True,
that
true.
if they use the code, they're always here.
They're always listening. Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's say that ISC capital DB is watching this right now,
Yeah.
and he says, "Hey, that's me. That isn't I. That's me. I'm the." So what's he do next?
He's gonna write in, and then he's gonna say, "Hey, it's me. I'm the Lake St. Clair dirty bastard." And then I'm gonna say, "All right, here's your code," which will probably just be his name, which is Lake St. Clair dirty bastard.
I'm poor.
And then
I'm sorry. I
there
said
you go.
that.
Then you get
I'm
your
sorry.
free things.
I apologize.
You see what you do?
I know I'm a bad person. I'm a very bad person. There's no doubt about it.
Basically, yeah.
I agree. It's all in the name of stupid humor too. It's just to get a laugh or two.
Could
right?
be Dave Brown.
Yeah.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
No, you went
No.
right for it.
Well, it's because there used to be ODB, Old Dirty Bastard. There used to be initials, and the DB just came out. But I don't know.
Anyways, DB wants to know, or says, going off the LiveScope FFS brackets conversation that you guys should do an episode. He says he's saying we guys should do an episode called Pros versus Joes Fishing. I think we have talked about this.
Yeah, I think you brought that up.
Have a couple of listeners who have never fished with forward-facing sonar win a chance to fish with it in a tournament against some pros fishing with regular 2D sonar. Gives a chance to showcase the new angler leaderboard technology in it as well. It would be interesting to see how that would actually play out. Well, I suggested a while ago, I don't know why we were talking about this, that we go even farther than that. And that is, we load the inexperienced angler, we'll call them, right? We load them up with technology. I mean, technology that you just have no idea of. You load their boat up with all of this wonderful stuff, and you pit them against somebody who has a wealth of angling experience and pedigree and knowledge, who you will give barely a fishing rod and some line to. And you give them a time limit, and then they have to come back with the results.
It's pretty much the same what he's saying. Like yours is even more
Very
complex.
extreme. You want to make it very extreme.
I'd be interested to see, because it took Ange and I. Well, the question's not done yet, so we'll go.
Go ahead, finish it off.
My question is in regards to Lake Erie bass. I want to go and fish it since I live nearby it, but I feel overwhelmed by the idea of going out there when I have no clue where to start. How does someone break down a big lake when looking to fish for bass? So we can talk. We could still talk about that first part if we want to.
Yeah, let's finish that first part off.
I'd be interested to see how two never seen forward-facing sonar users would even start, how they would even start. You know what I mean? Because it took us a long time.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make, right? Everybody thinks, okay, go online, order yourself a Garmin 8600 and bolt it onto your boat, and instantly you will be transformed into the fishing god. Yeah. You will automatically be transformed into the catcher of fish. It's not the case.
Fishmonger. Yeah.
It's not the case.
Because even that screen doesn't make any sense until you know what it is. It's like an ultrasound where you need someone pointing out, oh, that's this.
Now, I will say the world of YouTube now, there's so much live scope footage on there that you would catch on. Like if we had that, we would have caught on quicker for sure. So maybe somebody would just watch that, and just keep watching and say, okay, that's what they're looking for. That's how maybe that's how. You could probably figure out all the information. But
all right, Mr. Bowman. So now you've done that. You've gone online and you've educated yourself, and you now can interpret what you're seeing on the screen.
On the screen.
So there they are. They're out there. All those little fishies are out there.
Yeah.
You got to get them into the boat.
Oh, I understand that. I understand. I'm not saying. I said it'd be hard for them. It'll be hard no matter what, is what I'm saying.
And that's why I say my money would be on that guy who has a wealth of experience and knowledge and no tools. I would pick him. I would
Corey
put
and
money.
Chris Johnston with Mickey Mouse rods and reels, push button against two ranks. Corey and Chris are going to beat you. If it's bass, I'm going to tell you that right now.
Of course.
They're going to beat you.
Of course. Why? Because there's nothing you could do to replicate experience, meaning and you don't have to be old to have experience in this game.
No.
If you fish once or twice a year and you do that for 100 years, you're not going to have the experience and the know-how and the fish catching abilities that somebody who fishes 8 hours a week, every week, all year long. It's impossible. It just will not happen. Therefore, chances are you'll have your ass handed to you by the guy with all the experience and knowledge. And no tools, no toys.
Yeah.
Now, put toys in that person's head, and it's game over.
Look out.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's the way of the world right now, right? And going back to the question, Lake Erie bass, where does he start? He has nowhere to start, nowhere to start. How do you break down a big lake when looking to fish for bass?
I know how to break down Lake Erie.
Go for it.
You get a drone, and you put it up in the air, and you look for a flotilla of boats. And where you see the flotilla of boats, chances are you're going to catch fish. How's that?
Well, he's looking for bass. You might be pushing him into the walleye world, get him away from the bass. Yeah. You need some form of mapping, especially on a lake like Erie. If you're going to look. I'm assuming smallmouth. We would assume smallmouth, I guess, right? Because largemouth. There's largemouth there, but
up at the top there,
there's lots of little bays and stuff like that.
A lot of little bays.
But let's just use smallmouth as an example. you need to have some form of chart. So you should, I mean, every angler now has a fish finder / GPS unit. And if you don't, you should.
No, don't assume that.
You should. I think you should. On a lake like that, if you want to find fish, you want to run your boat safely, et cetera, et cetera. Maps are huge on that, right? So a mapping unit on your boat would really, really help. If you don't, well, if you have a Garmin, you would then download Active Captain as well, and it has maps on your phone, really detailed maps. You can get contours, et cetera, et cetera. But mapping is huge, right? You have to have a starting point somewhere, right? And then you'd look for points and all this different structures that look different. It's again, experience. Like Gans and I have talked about the experience thing. This is a wealth of years put together to know that this little contour works good for smallmouth in the fall, and that is, and there's, et cetera, et cetera. So it's time consuming, but it's well worth it with your map viewing for sure.
If the challenge of learning something new, a body of water from scratch, if there's a challenge element that you require, then by all means do what Pete said. Get yourself something, map. You got to know where north and south is. You got to have the basics. But if the challenge of learning it on your own is not the quest here, what I would do, especially on a lake like that, I would source out some local guides, and I would employ the services of a guide for
There's a good one right
for
there.
a half a day or a day, and that will just change the experience for you 100%.
And ask them a million questions.
Ask them questions. Have them take you to, every guide has got their milk run of honey holes. And boom, you just saved yourself about 20 years worth of hard work by using that guide. Now you can go out the next day and apply what you learned from him or her, because there are some good female guides in that area. And apply it yourself now. The game has changed. Why you wouldn't use the experience of somebody who does it for a living would be beyond me. Other than the fact that some people enjoy, I know we do, we enjoy going to a brand new lake and know nothing about it, but we do have the tools and we do have the mapping and we do have all that, but we enjoy figuring it out. Most people don't want to do that. In which case, get a guide.
Hey, one more quick one for you. GPSnauticalcharts.com. There's a little juice for you right there. That's one of the only places I know you can find online maps for Ontario, if you're an Ontario based for Lake Erie. But there's all provinces. It's a great site that has very detailed maps, and it's a good starting point for you anyways to see what they look like. So there you go.
This episode is brought to you by Sail. Sail is proudly Canadian and stocked with over 100 Canadian brands you know and love.
From rods and reels to sonars to kayaks and every last lure you've seen on the Fishing Canada show, Sail has all the gear to get you on the water.
Drop into one of 12 stores across Ontario and Quebec and talk to the real fishing specialists, or gear up online anytime at sail.ca.
Sail, the ultimate destination for your outdoor adventures.
This episode is brought to you by Angler's Leaderboard and its Spot Mapper feature. Spot Mapper connects your catch data to your spots, allowing you to view your catch history. With Spot Mapper, your locations stay completely private. Only you can access them, so your favorite spots stay your secret. Learn more at anglersleaderboard.com. All right, now on to our special guest of the week. The segment brought to you by Silver Wax, the good old Canadian company since 1999.
Look at that stuff, buddy.
I love it.
Starting to use more and more of it all the time. And
Are you starting to?
Oh my God,
of course, I've been waxing stuff, it seems like, about all my life. I'm big on getting a shine on the boat or getting a shine on the cars or the motorcycle or whatever. And I got to tell you, it is a big time saver. But also just does a fantastic job.
Yeah, I'm starting to really love it.
The fact that it's Canadian and it's built right here Good on him.
And you know me with my dirty old truck. Every now and then I have to clean that up. You always get, Bowman, clean your truck.
That's it. Brought to you by Solar Wax. Now here he is, the man, the newly minted, by the way, relatively newly minted. The Honorable Mike Harris Jr., the new Minister of Natural Resources. Yay! Welcome to the program.
It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
As they say at our age, it's nice to be seen. Okay.
That's fair.
All right. First of all, I said newly minted. It's been, about a month and a half, maybe?
I think we're going on about 4 months.
Are we going on 4 months?
Yeah, we're going on close to 4.
Nice.
There couldn't be, and I'm sure you've heard this from others as well, there probably could not be a better person suited for this portfolio. Given your background, not just in politics, of course, your father being who he was, but because you've got those grassroots, your background. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but your grandfather had a fishing lodge up in North Bay, right?
North Bay, right?
Yeah, they absolutely. Listen, you're gonna make me blush, Ange. First of all, come on here. But no, this is a dream come true for me. If you go back to the 1960s, when my grandparents first moved up to Northern Ontario, just outside North Bay in Callander, which I know you guys know well. You've been fishing on Lake Nipissing for many, many years.
We were just up there.
We were just up there.
Close. We went through North Bay to Temiskaming, so we're right there. So.
Oh, I'm actually in North Bay right now, so
cool.
I just missed you. So There you go. But listen, we grew up hunting and fishing's always been my passion. And the really neat thing for me is the year I was born, my dad was actually the Minister of Natural Resources, which was pretty cool.
Wow!
So I get to walk into our ministry office in Toronto, and we've got portraits of all the previous ministers hanging on the wall. So I get to see his. I was going to say ugly mug. Well, I guess I already said it. It's too late. But get to see Dad on the wall when I walk into work, which is pretty cool. So
cool.
Honestly, guys, it's 13-year-old Mike's dream. I tell that to everybody I talk to. So it's a great opportunity for me, and really enjoying it so far.
So you've obviously hunted and fished pretty much your whole life, would I say?
Since I could hold a fishing rod, I was out on the lake.
Perfect.
Good for you.
Perfect.
Favorite species before we go any farther? Let's get that over with.
Ooh, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a good smallie. They fight so hard, especially when you get them out of that good, clear, deep Canadian water.
Oh yeah.
But I will tell you, I am a big saltwater fishing fan as well.
Nice.
And I've actually got a big blue marlin tattoo, which I won't show you, but it's right in this neighborhood right here.
Nice.
So there's the passion. There's the passion.
No kidding. That's a special fishery. I mean, and for you to put a tattoo on your body, you are hardcore, buddy. That is
hardcore.
It must mean that you've caught a big one, or is it a want?
You know what? It's a funny story. We've never actually officially landed one. We were fishing in the Pacific. This is a while back, and we actually had one that ended up breaking the rod. And we had to it was big. We had to hand line it in for 2.5 hours. And you're going to think, oh yeah, here's the fish story. The minister's on here. He's already telling fish stories. We hand lined it for 2.5 hours, and the hook pulled out about 20 feet below the boat.
Oh,
and the captain estimated it somewhere between sort of 700 and 800 pounds. So we wish we could have got a closer look at that one, but it's a bucket list fish for me.
Wow.
That's worth a tattoo. That story is worth a tattoo for sure. Sure. There you go.
Before we went on with you today, I was looking up, and I've done, I'd say, the last 10 Minister of Natural Resources on a fairly close basis, because we're in the same business, right? But I never realized until I looked at this list of duties or things that you guys are in charge of, I never realized how vast that portfolio is, because maybe it doesn't have the sex appeal that some of the other finance portfolio or whatever. But if you look at what I'm looking at, you stand back and say, "Whoa!" Like this should be divided into 3 or 4 portfolios with 3 or 4 ministers. But yet here it is, all under one roof. Is it a little overwhelming when you first stepped in and looked at this?
I think the one benefit for me was I did serve in the ministry in another role prior to. So we have what's called a parliamentary assistant to the minister, and these are across all the different ministries. And think about it, the easiest way I explain it is like a vice president, the minister.
Yeah.
And when there's duties that the minister can't fulfill, whether it's in the legislature, whether it's announcements, going to events, meeting with stakeholders, helping craft policy, we step in and do that. So I did serve as the Minister of Natural Resources Parliamentary Assistant 6-7 years ago when we first were elected in 2018. Yeah. So I had some good working knowledge of the ministry coming in, which was extremely helpful. But when you look at that sheet, we're talking about aggregates, we're talking about hunting, we're talking about fishing, we're talking about Crown land dispensation. We're talking about something that's a big deal for you guys right now, forest fires. Lots of other little things that kind of get interspersed throughout. And our ministry offers 200 different types of permits in the province of Ontario, which makes up somewhere around 15-20% of all of the permits within government. So it's pretty substantial.
Wow.
Oil, gas, salt. Like all the minerals.
Oh, we have two salt mines in the province, if you can believe that.
I did not know that.
Nope, had no idea.
I had no idea. Of course, you mentioned aggregates, and it just goes on and on. Dams, landslides. I mean, all these things that we just take for granted.
Yeah.
Flooding's another big one.
It's all under that portfolio, which blows my mind. But anyways,
just on that note, we do have it split up a little bit. So we do have the associate minister of forestry, Kevin Holland, great guy from up near Thunder Bay. Yeah. And so he handles a lot of the forestry portfolio, which is great because it sort of splits that out a little bit. But there's, of course, oversight from myself and our team as well. So it's helpful from that perspective.
Have you been exposed yet to the general public? And what I mean by that, I'm talking at a place like a consumer show or a sportsman show or a fishing show. Have you had a chance to sit down and get down and dirty with people who are, for sure, always going to be complaining about things such as where are all the conservation officers, or why can't I have more pickerel to fry up, or the usual stuff. But have you had a chance to sit down with folks and kind of get in there?
We have. We've had some great stakeholder groups through the office. I've also been able this summer to be able to travel a little bit, meet some folks. I was just actually up in Kenora last week and Red Lake, which was great. So we're able to meet some folks up there as well. And we've had a lot of good conversations. I think things have been pretty productive. The neat thing for outdoors people is I think we're all very conservation minded, and we all want to do what's best for the landscape. So really a lot of it, like we're all kind of rowing in the same direction, looking for the same outcome, but it's just kind of how we get there. And everybody, like you said, has sometimes a little bit of a difference of opinion, but that's one thing that I've been, I guess, accustomed to over almost all my life, with my father being a former premier, right? Like you mentioned. So always been able to have those kind of tough conversations, and usually at the end of it, everybody walks away smiling.
Yeah, it's like our feedback we're getting on all our, holding that fish any closer to the camera. Hey, you do it. There's so many negatives out there.
I accused my kids the other day. We were out fishing on Lake Nipissing, and my one son had maybe it was like a 14, 15-inch walleye, and I said, hey guys, you got the TV drag on there. Tighten it up a little bit. So
not bad, buddy. You're giving away our secrets. Stop that. Yeah. Hey, Mike, how are ministers appointed? How were you appointed, et cetera? How does the system work?
Yeah, so there's whenever you have a new government come in or an election, everything essentially gets disbanded. So you're starting fresh, and the premier and what we would call the transition team looks through the elected government MPPs and talks about who they think would be best for certain portfolios. And I've made the case to be minister here, I think for many years, and have finally had the opportunity. And just really relish it. The premier gives you a call and says, "Hey, Mike, I'd love to have you as my Minister of Natural Resources." And for me, would have been impossible. You would have had to drag me out of the room to say no. So, like I said, dream come true. We try and have cabinet appointed pretty soon after an election. You want to have government coming back and being formed up and being able to make important decisions for the people of Ontario. So I'm sure there's a lot of deliberation that goes into it behind the scenes, obviously, that we're not privy to, but it's an honor to be able to serve in Premier Ford's cabinet and, of course, be in this ministry.
When we started this segment, I said there couldn't have been a better choice because of who you are, right? But I got to be honest with you, a lot of times I shake my head and I say, now, what in the world would possess anybody to put this person in charge of that? Do you know what I mean? It's happened quite a bit. And I know there's stuff, it goes on in the background and the mechanism that's in place and all of that stuff. But sometimes I wonder why somebody is in the position that they are.
It's true.
And that's why when the opposite happens, man, we're just thrilled to death. So,
listen, I'm not going to suppose to know what goes on behind the scenes, but what I can tell you is I'm very, very excited to be here. And everyone that I've spoken with, whether it be staff within the ministry or folks in the community, they listen, I've lived in Kitchener for 13 years. We do have some great outdoors down in southwestern Ontario, some incredible fishing, some incredible hunting. Lake Erie walleye this year. Holy smokes.
I hear it's
on
fire.
On fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but I'm a northern boy at heart. And I always like to say you can take the boy out of the north, but you can't take the north out of the boy.
True.
And when you look at really our ministry, it really truly does touch the north a lot more than anywhere else. And I think people really appreciate someone who can kind of walk the walk and talk the talk, to be able to interact with and know that they're making good decisions for them and other people around the province.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's be a good time for people who, because we get asked it quite a bit, and you might as well answer it for us. The difference between MNR and DFO.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, well, obviously the Ministry of Natural Resources is a provincial ministry, and the Department of Fisheries and Oceans is a federal ministry. So that's the number one sort of delineator between the two. We focus at MNR on a lot more of kind of the day-to-day issues, where we're setting catch limits, size restrictions, looking at, and I'm just equating this to fishing, on the sort of the recreational side, not on the commercial side. But side note, we do have one of the largest freshwater commercial fisheries in the world here in Ontario, which is also under my portfolio. And I'm actually heading up to Iqaluit this summer in a few weeks for a conference with all of the federal ministers that are related to fisheries, including DFO, and provincial counterparts across all the provinces. So it'll be pretty neat. Yeah. But DFO is more on the we'll say shared border lakes, like Lake of the Woods, Rainy Lake, obviously our Great Lakes, and then of course includes all of the ocean fisheries as well. They deal a lot more with the commercial side of stuff that we don't necessarily get into. We're pretty focused just sort of what's here in Ontario on our Great Lakes. So there's obviously we can get a lot more sort of into the weeds, if you will, on it. But that's kind of high level, sort of what the big differences are.
Is there ever a clash? Is there ever disputes? Is there ever?
Listen, we may not always. I'll put my diplomatic hat on here for a minute. We may not always see eye to eye, but we've got a great relationship with our partners there, and there's many different commissions and sort of multi-provincial tables that we sit on as well when we look at our border lakes and rivers, as well as kind of what happens from a daily basis with the recreational and with commercial fisheries. So we get along well. I think, like I said, we're all kind of in it together, right? We're all here to make sure that we have a renewable resource for years to come. And we're all in it for the right reasons, and we're just going to continue to push on the things that we feel we need to push on, and I'm sure they'll do the same. So good relationship, and we'll keep it going.
Could the DFO, let's say since they're federal, the Ministry of Natural Resources Ontario puts sort of certain laws on Lake Nipissing. Could the DFO overrule that if they wanted to, if they needed to, if they had to?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good question, and sort of the short answer is yes, they can, but it would be in extremely rare circumstances that they would do that.
Okay.
Very, very, very unlikely that they would be put in a position where they would come in and overrule us. But we do have provincial legislation that does stipulate a lot of these things. So when we're looking at making substantial changes, we actually have to pass legislation through the legislature, which again, it would make it very tough for DFO to come in and change our legislation. We would sort of have to open it up and allow them to participate in sort of what they want to see change. So it happens extremely, extremely rarely. And like I said, we've got really good working relationships. If DFO has concerns about stuff or vice versa, we usually just try and hash it out and come to an understanding and figure out what the best path forward is.
Okay.
In your opinion, what of all of the responsibilities that you have, we know your passion for fishing, obviously, but that notwithstanding, if we could put that aside, what do you think your biggest responsibility is as the Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry? Obviously, is the F still in there? By the way, it comes and goes. Is it MNRF still?
So it's quasi MNRF. It's the Minister of Natural Resources, and then we have the Associate Ministry of Forestry.
Okay.
So it's honestly, most people still just call it MNRF, and we're so intertwined and always will be. And for good reason, right? You know, you'll remember back the Ministry of Lands and Forests.
Of course,
that was one of the original ministries back in the late 1800s, right? So we've got a great sort of pedigree to follow up on. But I think there's sort of one of the big pieces right now, obviously, that I've been inundated with over the last few months, really since sort of May, has been forest fires.
Yeah.
And it's been a big challenge in northwestern Ontario in particular this year, and Manitoba and Saskatchewan. So it's not just isolated to here. They had a very, very dry spring, and it caused a lot of issues. But we have an incredible team across the province, our fire rangers and all of the folks who help support them. And they've done amazing work. I was just up in Kenora and Red Lake, like I said, actually got up in a helicopter, got to tour some of the fires, which was really good to see. Met with some of the folks on the ground, talk to them, get a little bit better understanding as to what a lot of the challenges are, and help myself get better educated as to how we fight these fires. And I think a lot of that now is translated into what we're seeing in your neck of the woods, right? In Haliburton and Kawartha Lakes, and out there we've got some small. I want to preface they are smaller fires. They are not that big.
Yep.
In comparison, the largest one I think that we have right now is somewhere around 30 hectares, and it's almost fully contained, which is really great. But to put that into perspective, there's been fires up in the Northwest that have been almost 200,000 hectares. But when you get close to where people live, right, and you've got houses, cottagers, camps, all kinds of stuff, we've got great teams that come in and work on. We call it values protection. I know it may not be the best word maybe to describe it, but we actually have fire rangers that are specific and will come in and they'll run hose lines and sprinklers and everything around properties and buildings to try and make sure that if the fire does come that way, that it generally will go around the wet area and not burn anything down. And we're always very cognizant, of course, of evacuations and keeping an eye on things. So things are trending in a good direction. But I think, honestly, that's been one of the real eye openers for sure since I've gotten in here.
Yeah.
Recently, an article in one of the leading news medias reported on, and I think it was out of Nova Scotia, because they're having issues with fires down there too, where they've actually now banned people from going into
$25,000 fine for hiking and stuff like that, right?
How does that happen? I mean, yes, I understand what you just said. When you've got, obviously, common sense has to prevail. If there's a massive fire, a mile from you, chances are pretty good that most people will have the intelligence to say, well, I probably should not be walking in that woods. I agree with that. But at what point does the government step in and make that decision for people like they have in that jurisdiction?
And I think that's a hard call to make. It truly is. And I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. Not every province is as well equipped to be able to handle these types of situations. Number one, we've actually sent, we have a national, we'll call it sort of cross-agency aid pact that we have, SIFC, it's an acronym, but anyways, so it's all the provinces basically have sort of reciprocal agreements with each other where if, you're facing a really bad fire season or you need some extra expertise or whatnot, if we have assets available, we'll send them to you. So we actually have 2 water bombers in Newfoundland right now with some fire crews because they just don't have the capacity to be able to deal with it. Nova Scotia is very similar. We've also had, I believe New Brunswick has reached out for some extra help as well. So it all sort of stems from that. And then also the fact that somewhere in the neighborhood of 50, maybe even a little bit more % of fires are caused by human interaction with the landscape.
Right.
So it could be something, as casual as flicking a cigarette butt into some dry bush and you walk away and away it goes. It could be a campfire that doesn't get extinguished properly, or maybe it's a little too windy and you get some embers that blow off into the bush. So you've got to really weigh that balance. And I think if you saw what happened, I think it was last year in Nova Scotia, where Halifax, which is a pretty major city, they had fires burning pretty close to town. Mm-hmm. So listen, is it something that that I like, that I would want to see? We're always trying to weigh the best interests of community and of course of safety. So we want to make sure that we put everybody in a good position, and I get everybody's in a bit of a different circumstance. It's not an easy call to make, guys. Let's put it that way.
It wouldn't be. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Because obviously it made the headlines for a couple of days.
They're
can't
also
go in the woods.
Yeah, they're also saying that not just the flicking of the ashes or the butts and all that stuff, but if you're hiking or fishing, whatever, and your boat is overturned or you break a leg in there, they don't have the resources. Everybody's out fighting fires and everybody's doing all this stuff. They don't have the resources to go after you and dig a whole crew to get you out of there. So I don't know if that's legit or not, but that's
what I'm saying. So we actually, I'll give you a perfect example of sort of an occurrence here that we had. I'm not sure if you remember when we had those big storms about a month ago, in Champlain Park, just in between North Bay and Mattawa, had a huge downburst that came through and just wiped out an entire area of forest. And there were actually people that were stranded out on a lake. I believe it was a mother and a son, and I think the son had broken a leg, or maybe it was vice versa. And we actually had to have one of our M&R planes come in and rescue them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So it's an exact example of what you're talking about, Pete. Okay. It's resources that have to be dedicated somewhere else in case of an emergency, right? So
people don't realize that. Right?
Also, what I've been hearing, Ange, especially with these Kawarthas and Halliburton fires and all that going on, the water bombers that they're being used here, I think it's Cameron Lake. I'm not sure. They're picking up on one of these nice, little lakes. The boaters aren't getting out of the way. Oh. These friggin' idiots are out there. They don't even you're seeing a great big giant yellow plane hovering across, and they got to do 3 or 4 passes before they can scoop up water because these idiots are out there doing their wakeboarding and all that.
Guys,
so
you know what? One of the biggest problems is drones. And people trying to film the fires and film the planes and the fire crews. And you got to think, if you're flying a few 100 miles an hour into one of these lakes or towards one of these fires, you're not going to see a drone until it's too late. Yeah. And it can be a huge safety factor. So we're really trying to be very adamant about, if you're interested in, filming some of this, 10 kilometers. We need a 10-kilometer radius around the lakes. We need a 10-kilometer radius around the fires so that our crews can be safe and effective.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Really,
I mean, a lot of them are under an air dome, anyways, and because there's float plane bases all over the north, which technically are air domes. So there shouldn't be drones flying within. Yeah. I think it's 10 kilometers.
But Angelo, like you said, common sense doesn't always prevail, my friend.
They don't even know it. They don't realize it.
Common sense. Great landing spot for this next pet peeve I have for you. Okay. You're the first, by the way. I didn't have this problem when Graydon was still minister, so don't think I'm picking on you. You're the first M&R minister we've had on the show since. So a while back, I was embarrassed because I ran into a situation where at my age and in my capacity within this industry, I should know all the rules and regulations. However, there was a time not too long ago where a dispute came up regarding single barbless hooks.
Here we go again. Okay.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I'll just quickly bring you up to speed. There was a guy on the internet. Somehow I ended up viewing this thing, and he was teaching a young person about fishing regulations and do's and don'ts and fishing etiquette and stuff. And they're standing in front of a forest, and they got to the point where, well, now this lake behind us, it's a single barbless hook lake, which what it means, Shirley, is that, when you go fish in this lake, you can only use a single barbless hook, like this one. And he's holding up a treble hook.
Oh.
Well, hang on. Don't make any judgment yet. Okay.
It gets better?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So as soon as I saw that, I thought, whoa, what's going on here?
Loser.
She says, yes, you see, what you require with this is that it doesn't have a barb. You can either pinch it back, with pliers, or you can buy them without barbs, but a single barbless hook like this is all you can use in this lake. And then he went on to talk about all the other things that people should know about the outdoors fishing. And I couldn't let it go. I called Pete or Dean or Nick or somebody, and I said, guys, is it just me, or is this like totally ridiculous? And if it is, we need to contact somebody and get this thing pulled, because it's teaching people the wrong thing. Well, we looked into it.
We all agreed with the answer first, though. We said, no, Matt, get this guy off the air. This guy should be fined. He should be this, that, and the other.
Well, fortunately, before we took those extreme measures, we found out that here in the province of Ontario, in fact, it's the only one left that will call a treble, what we deem to be a treble hook, we'll call it a single hook. In the regulations here in Ontario, what they mean by a single hook is just one. You can't have two of these treble hooks. You can't have three of them. You can only have one. Whereas all other jurisdictions across the country, when they talk about single barbless hooks, they mean what you and I know it should be.
I've been fishing almost 40 years, and that's news to me too.
Okay,
so
you need to look into that, please.
We'll check that one out. Yeah,
because,
for sure.
First of all, if we are using barbless single hooks in areas where maybe fishing is not as robust as it is in other places, or if it's an entirely catch and release fishery, and we do want to, facilitate a better release, then a single barbless hook is the way to go, because a treble of any kind, or even if it's got no barbs, you know what it's like, right? So
100%.
As minister,
we will look into that. That will be my first order of business as soon as I get off the call with you guys.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
I appreciate it. And let us know. Let us know what the situation is. But yeah. And we did find out that this guy who was doing this video was he not?
He's a guide. He's a professional fishing guide.
Professional fishing guide. What we'll do, we'll send you. Right? We'll find it again, and we'll send you the link to it.
Send me the video. I'd like to see it. Yeah.
So, anyways.
You know what? Just on that note, though, we are going through a simplification of the rules process right now, which I think will make it a lot easier for folks to understand. So, as you know, we can't really do a whole lot until we reprint the 2026 guidelines, right? Because we don't want to get into changing rules and things throughout the year, because then it can create some confusion. But so stay tuned. There's some good things coming on that.
That's a good thing, because there's always changes, there's always updates, there's always new little regs here and there. So the simpler the better.
And what I'd like to also tell people who are listening and watching, for sure. When you look at the rule book, it's complicated as can be, right? But when you then look into it and see how much they have to cover, and I'm talking about
Oh, my God.
fishery in particular, and never mind the other 100 and some odd that you're in charge of, but in fishery in particular, there are so many different circumstances that have to be covered in the playbook, right? And so I say this because we hear it a lot. In fact, I heard it just yesterday. Somebody was complaining about the rules on from M&R. It's incumbent on us as anglers to make sure that we take the time, and if we're not 100%, maybe 110% sure that we have interpreted correctly, it's on us, not on you, not on M&R. It's on us to make sure that we got it. We understand it.
Of course.
It's like the rules of the road, driving your car. It's the same thing.
It's exactly
if you are, a little sketchy on some of the rules, you're going to get caught, you're going to get fined, and it's not going to be a good result, right? So at the end of the day, it's on us. Could they be easier? Oh, I would love them to be as easy as you possibly could, but it's on us. Just make sure that
for the most part, the rules are pretty sensible.
Yeah,
right.
The only part that gets a little when you have to go here to here and then back to there, and but other than that, rules are rules, and we just need to make sure that we understand them. I don't think there's much more you guys can do about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at simplifying, even just the language that they're explained in, I think is paramount.
That's
right?
Huge.
If 10 people read it and only one understands it, we've got a problem. So looking at ways that we can try and simplify the language, looking at ways that we can harmonize some of the fisheries management zones. And we still need to have special rules on certain lakes given the fishery, but we're doing a big overhaul on it right now. So should be some good things to come.
Good. That's awesome.
Interesting.
Good to hear.
Good to go. Your next fishing trip?
Hopefully in a few hours.
Oh, you rotten bandit! Good for you.
We'll see how the day goes. We've got a little bit of a workload here, but I'm actually in North Bay at the family cottage with the family right now, and the kids are bugging me to get out on beautiful Lake Nipissing. So hopefully a little. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but hopefully a little bit later on, we'll get out on the lake and enjoy. If it's not too rough, we had a bit of a storm come through here a couple days ago, so it's a little snotty out there, but we'll see how she goes.
That lake has got snot written all over it. Hey, at certain days when that wind comes up, man, that's a nasty one.
It's about 64 kilometers long, and if you get a straight, west to east wind, holy smokes, look out. Yeah,
for sure.
Remember when we shot the last call there?
Oh my God, that one day?
We had to cancel. Well, we had to move. We had to move it from we were right.
We moved into Fish Bay. Somehow we went into
South Bay, wasn't it?
South Bay, and then Fish Bay is right at the end of South Bay.
Right.
We had an event scheduled to go right out of the North Bay itself, the main shore of North Bay,
the waterfront there,
and we had to quickly reschedule it.
Oh my God!
So here's a little tidbit for you guys. I actually watched one of those weigh-ins.
No,
come on!
Whenever that was, 20-25 years ago or something.
At least the last call.
Yeah.
That was a cool event, man.
That was very cool.
Pretty neat.
And a perfect water.
The town really embraced it. They enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
You must have been like, I won't say a kid, but you were young.
So I'm currently 40, so I was in my late teens, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fantastic.
That's small world, boys. Oh my God. This episode is brought to you by Angler's Leaderboard and its photo measure feature. Angler's Leaderboard makes every catch count by integrating seamlessly with their patent-pending AI-enabled fish measurement board. Now you can automatically measure catch length and detect species in seconds just by using your smartphone camera. It's fast, accurate, and reduces handling. So now you can release healthier fish and keep fishing for the big ones. Learn more at anglersleaderboard.com.
What else have we got for you? Have you got anything that you need to, we'd like you to use this as a conduit whenever you can. We obviously have the ear of most anglers in this province. If I was going to say most outdoors people, but I will say most anglers. And we'd like you to use this as a conduit. When you need to deliver a message, either good or bad, use this as a conduit.
Appreciate that. I think one of the, the big things for us right now is just, we've been talking about common sense. Let's kind of create that theme. We've got a lot going on right now in the bush, and folks who are out there camping or folks who are out there enjoying the outdoors. Just be smart. Be smart about what you're doing. Be safe. We don't have the resources to spread across the province when, like Pete said, if there's an emergency out in the bush, but we're also fighting fires in the same area, we've got to be really prudent as to how we dedicate those assets, and just be smart, be safe. That's really the number one thing I can say right now. But I will say to your listeners and folks who are watching, if you've got great ideas, please submit them into the ministry. We're easy to find. Look us up online. Send us an email. Say you heard us on the the Outdoor Journal or Fishing Canada radio show, and we'd love to hear kind of what's going on firsthand. We can't be everywhere, so if you've got some good ideas or things you think we can do better, happy to hear them.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Wonderful. I think a bit of a stretch saying we're easy to get a hold of. Have you looked at the MNR URLs and how oh my God.
We're a big ministry.
Hey, by the way, I think you owe your father a royalty on the common sense term, by the way. Okay.
Well, listen, I've got a signed copy of the Common Sense Revolution sitting in my office, so
Gets a buy.
Listen, absolute pleasure having you on the show. We've been trying to make this happen ever since you were appointed. We thought it was important that Graydon did a great job, but we thought it was important. We want people to know. We want them to see a face of who is in there on our behalf as anglers and outdoors people, who is in there making decisions and making things work. So we thought it'd be very important to get you in as early as possible and as often as possible, right? So I appreciate that.
And the invite for Fishing with Ange and Pete. You have an open invite here, okay? If we can set something up.
Well, let's make it happen at some point, guys. Would love to do that.
All right. Done. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you very soon. Best of luck to you.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me on today. Really appreciate it.
See you, Mike.
There you go. Minister of Natural Resources, newly minted. I think 4 months is newly minted.
Sure it is.
All right.
Sure
going to be, I think, if he does the things that all of us think he's going to do and influences the ministry the way we think he's going to influence it, there's some really good times ahead for all of us that enjoy the outdoors.
Yep.
And in particular, fishing. The pedigree, the lineage that Mike has for that portfolio. I when he first got appointed, I started going back and thinking, with all due respect to previous MNR ministers of natural resources, I had to start going back to see when was the last time that we had a minister of natural resources that was that deeply connected with
Mr. Ouellette.
He
Jerry
was
for sure.
He was the last, we'll call it modern era, but I went back a little farther than that, but I went back far enough when they actually appointed ministers to portfolios because they had expertise in those areas. I mean, they used to do that.
That's
believe
what
it or
they did
not,
all the time, every time. Yeah.
But yeah, Jerry Ouellette is probably as close to, we'll call it modern era, as you're going to get to a guy who should be in that
big
job,
time.
right?
Yeah.
And Mike, and of course, Mike's other benefits he brings is the background with Father Mike Harris Sr., who was the premier of this province for, I think, 10 years.
I think you're close.
Did my homework correctly. And so he brings that to the table as well. So just so many attributes that Minister Harris brings, and just a nice guy too.
Great guy.
Just a great guy. I could see him out on the boat having a blast.
I think we could have some fun with him for sure.
All right, that or it. Did we miss anything, Dino? Did I screw things up?
Store manager normally has something to say.
We should do the bonus code.
Store manager said something I like that.
We should do I think we forgot to do it earlier.
The bonus code.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think we forgot to do it earlier.
Did we? Okay. Well, we forgot. Then
why don't we make it minister Minister.
All right. So today's bonus code, and of course, the reason they need this bonus code
Is
is
for 15% off on the Fish in Canada store. Who wouldn't want 15% off? I want 15% off.
I do.
I got to pay
I'll
full
take
price.
Oh, you do
it's
not.
very- No, I just take the shit.
Okay, now
I'm
everybody
just
knows.
lying. I'm just
There's
lying.
That's a bunch of bullshit. I guarantee you that one's on
That's
there.
a bunch of bullshit.
Thank you.
that will
Yeah.
not fly.
I'm just lying.
So there you go. Minister. Is it minister or ministry?
Let's make it minister.
Minister. Ministry is too like a religious thing, right?
mysterious.
The ministry.
It's vague.
Is it all capitals as well?
It doesn't matter, but I would advise to do that.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
It shouldn't matter. How about that?
bonus code is minister. Capitalized if you want to make sure that it works. Otherwise, you know.
And just to make
How
sure
about
we
it?
all know how to spell minister, that's Minister.
You looked it up. I
Yeah.
saw him
He's
looking
looking
it
at
up.
his
on the screen.
I had to remind myself how to spell it.
Wouldn't that be the worst if we just were doing it ad-libbing and saying
Exactly.
Minister or something like that? That'd be the best.
Anyways,
Minister.
That all right? That we covered all, Dino.
Yep.
So we got that.
We are
so,
good.
And we did that, and we got
did
through that.
And that, and
there was
that.
this. We
all
did
those,
that.
all those are done.
And
And
that.
that's it. We're done. On behalf of the whole crew, Nick, the store manager, now a new title to
know,
your
I keep getting
position.
They keep
promoted.
coming.
Okay, the store manager, Nick, and Dean over here. He, of course, is not manager of any kind, but he does produce and direct this episode.
Store
this
customer,
show.
right? A store
Store
customer.
customer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he is Peter Bowman, and I'm Angelo Biola. Thanks. We'll join you. You'll join us, and we'll join you.
Why won't you join us?
I guess we'll join them as well.
Thank you.
Catch you next week. Thanks. This episode of Outdoor Journal Radio is brought to you in part by the Invasive Species Centre, protecting Canada's land and water from invasive species. Freedom Cruise Canada, rent the boat, own the memories. JMB Cycle and Marine, your home for all things power sports, boats, and equipment. And Silver Wax, absolute care for everything you drive.